views and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to Outdoors People with me, CW Getz, and her, Maya Marzaki. Good evening. It's Wednesday, August 30th, 2023. We've got a beautiful 76-degree Fahrenheit day here in north central Illinois. Very sunny, a little breezy, but just a nice breeze. And, you know, I flirted with turning the air on. I said, not going to do it. Not going to do it. It's just too beautiful outside. But yeah, that equates to, for the rest of the world, 24 degrees Celsius. So what does that compare to you down there in São Paulo, Brazil, man?
Yeah, it sounds amazing. Actually, my weather is pretty much like yours, with a beautiful day of winter. With 22 degrees Celsius, and it means for UCW United States 72 degrees Fahrenheit.
We beat
Just
you.
Perfect.
We beat you again. 4 degrees, man.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to be bragging about. Hey, you know what? I'm not going to brag about that when it's 90 and 100 degrees here. So you can, anything over 75, 80 degrees, you can keep. Yeah. 85 is probably my tops. Then it becomes a little uncomfortable.
Yeah,
hey,
I
you know
love
what?
this weather actually.
It is beautiful. This is the perfect time of the year too. Late summer for us, late summer and late winter.
Winter for me.
You know, I heard something today. I was asked, "Are you a morning person or a night owl?" And you know, it's funny because I used to be this night owl. Well, I played in the band for a lot of years.
Yeah.
And just by nature, you're a night owl. You know, and I had to think about it. I said, you know, I honestly used to answer that night owl, but I think I really am a morning person now. I have a morning routine. I enjoy it. How about you?
Yeah, you are getting older, right? So
Is
that's
that
why
what
you are a morning person right now.
One, the early bird. Oh, he's an early bird and night owl. You can't do both. That's like being a Republican and a Democrat. You cannot do that.
Yeah, he just doesn't leap at all.
What is that? Yeah. So I don't know if it's a sign of age or if it's just something where you change your routine. I don't know. You know what?
Yeah, maybe your routine is different right now. I am always grumpy, but I wake up early.
I'm always grumpy. I love that. That's my line.
I'm always moody and grumpy, but I do like waking up early.
I do understand that. I do understand. Actually, I think I'm the same exact way as you. Yeah. That's why we get along.
There you go.
Oh, boy. Well, hey, tonight's episode of Outdoors People is brought to you by Rutabaga Paddle Sports, providing time on the water.
By Campground Views, making camping easier.
By Duluth Pack, made in the USA since 1882.
And by Jackson Kayak, pursuing joy through paddle sports.
Tonight's episode is from business suits to bathing suits with our special guest, Stephanie Schuldt. A self-described typical American girl, born and raised in Florida, Stephanie Schuldt went on to earn a degree in biology and a master's degree in business. Following graduation, she entered the working world and remained there for the next 13 years, first as a business consultant executive for a car rental company, and then for an online marketing company. Stephanie had the prestigious life, the big paycheck, the beautiful house, and the luxury car, which by society's standards is perceived as someone who is successful. However, she felt something was missing and was determined to make a change. Stephanie decided to leave her corporate career, her title, and the big paycheck. She sold her car, purchased a 46-foot Fontaine Payot sailing catamaran, obtained her captain's license, and set out to sail the Bahamas in pursuit of her dream, sailing around the world, living on the ocean. Stephanie is now a Master Freedive Instructor, USCG 100-ton captain, 7-time Spearfishing World Record Holder, and a dive master. Not quite your typical American girl. And with that, welcome to the show, Stephanie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I love it. By the way, how bad did I screw that Fontaine Payose? How did I do? Did I mess it up?
No, not too bad. Fontaine Pajot.
Oh, there
Not
you
too
go.
bad at all.
It's French, right? Yeah, right. Yeah. Hey, what's your weather like there? And where are you at actually again? Where are you stationed?
Yeah. Well, I'm in French Polynesia, so just sailed across the Pacific Ocean, and we're at a very remote atoll in the Tuamotus.
I love that. That's
Oh
beautiful.
my
What do you think, Maya?
Yeah, oh my gosh. I think that I wish to be there with her as well. That sounds just amazing. But
we live
sorry, sorry.
vicariously through people here on this show, don't we? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's nice though.
absolutely.
And how did you first become involved in freediving?
I got involved in freediving at this point. It's probably 6 or 7 years ago, and just think of it as I'm from Florida, and we would go lobstering every lobster season.
Oh, we're having a connection issue already. Oh no. I'm hoping that we were hoping that Elon's invention of what is it, Starlink, would prevail, but she's still with us. I see her there. Okay, there we go.
I'm here. I don't know where you lost me.
Let's just even start all over. Let's try that again.
Sure. So I got involved in freediving about 6 or 7 years ago. I'm from Florida, and so we would go lobstering every lobster season. And my brother-in-law could hold his breath longer than me, dive down, and get more lobsters than me. So I am a bit competitive, and I decided to take a freediving course just so I could compete with him. And I ended up getting a bit obsessed with it. I went straight through, got my master's freediving certification, got my instructor's freediving certification, started teaching, and now I'm an instructor trainer for freediving.
Wow, that's pretty. Is he younger or older than you?
He's a little bit younger.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't too bad. It's not like your older brother got beat by his younger sister.
Oh, it is
no.
It is the meaning of a healthy competition.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, I understand you have several instructor certifications. Tell us about those.
Right. So I am certified through PADI. There's a number of different organizations you can obtain a freediving certification through, but I chose PADI because I was scuba dive certified through PADI. So there's a couple levels. There's the beginner freediver, then freediver, advanced, and masters. And those are all different levels according to depth and breath hold and dynamic apnea, just some specific skills that you have to hit certain requirements. And then from there, you can become an instructor. And then after that, an instructor trainer. So at this point, I went ahead and went through all of the certifications, and I hold the top level for PADI right now.
Wow. That's impressive.
That's impressive, yeah. And I saw the movie, The Deepest Breath, and I got so amazed with that. And I'm wondering what exactly, specifically, the things you cover in the free dive courses you teach.
Yeah, sure. So that was a great film. I actually was there when Alessia hit the record. So that was really exciting.
No
yeah. Yeah. I'm definitely in one of the B-rolls that you see panning the audience.
That's so cool.
I'm going to watch it again.
She's extremely talented and just a lovely human. But in freediving, we focus, it's primarily training your mind and your body. So we focus on breath holding, how to breathe properly, how to inhale properly, how to calm your mind, how to relax your body. And then we focus a lot on safety techniques. So how to tell if you're feeling the signs of hypoxia, which is low oxygen, how to save somebody if they do have a shallow water blackout or a loss of motor control. And then we go over a lot of techniques, head position, body position, kick cycles, how to kick to get to certain depths. And it's pretty involved, but if somebody's interested, in 2 or 3 days, you can get certified for freediving.
Is that for everybody? I mean, just can anybody do that? Or do you have to be one of those people that have a bit of a talent for holding your breath?
So the youngest person I've taught is 2 6-year-olds, and the oldest person I've taught was 76 years old. So it's really for anyone. The only people who struggle learning how to freedive are the people who have had sinus surgeries or struggle with equalizing because of a medical reason. So a lot of people struggle with equalizing just because they haven't been taught the proper way to equalize. There's a certain technique to equalize your ears and your sinus cavity. And if you haven't been taught, then that's something you can learn. But if you have some medical things that are preventing you from being able to equalize, that's really the only limiting factor. Other than that, you can be male or female, you can be young or old. I've even taught chain smokers how to freedive. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're in shape or overweight.
You're making that up. You mean you really?
Seriously. Yeah.
You mean when you say chain smokers, we're talking like Jackie Gleason 5 packs of Pall Malls a day, right?
Yeah, I think he was up to 2 packs a day. And after the freediving course, he actually quit smoking within the next month because he was so moved by it all. So
you could probably do a program like that and say, quit smoking and sign up for my program and quit. That would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had no idea. I thought, it was kind of going to be there. You have to have a talent for that in the first place. You just can't. You're just not that kind of person. But not true, huh?
Not true. Anybody can do it.
Wow.
Yes, actually, I was thinking about that because after see the movie, I was so amazed and I went to learn, but I was like, okay, it's not for me. but now I'm feeling a little bit more confident. And the part of relaxing the body and the mind really got me. I really appreciate that. I need that. So I really can use some classes. But we are going to a little break, so don't go away. We'll be back.
A few years ago, someone asked Rutabaga's owner, Darren Bush, "Hey, how long have you guys been selling boats?" Darren replied, "Well, we don't sell boats. We sell time on the water." Of course, that comes in all types. We help people paddle more safely with Rutabaga outdoor programs. We rent canoes, kayaks, and stand-up paddleboards. We sell and install racks to get you from home to adventure. Rutabaga's got everything you need to get you out on the water, like paddles, life jackets, dry bags, and clothing. Rutabaga Paddle Sports, on the web at rutabaga.com. Mention you saw this ad on The Camping Show.
It is time to go camping. Introducing Campground View's virtual tours. You can tour the campground, see the sites, see if they are available, and click to book your perfect spot. Hit the open road and explore the amazing places found in nature. We make it easy to discover, find, and book your site so that you can go have the fun and freedom you seek. Campground View's virtual tours make it easy and simple for you to see where you are going.
Duluth Pack is handcrafted for every lifestyle, making memories since 1882. In store at 365 Canal Park Drive or online at duluthpack.com.
We're one big family, a community of paddlers, and we want to make sure that everyone has a great time out on the water.
We are made right here in Sparta, Tennessee, USA.
This is where every Jackson kayak is born. Built by hand with a focus on innovation.
We are Jackson Kayak.
We are Jackson Kayak.
We're Jackson Kayak.
We are Jackson Kayak.
All right, we're back with our guest, Stephanie Schuldt. Stephanie, let's talk about spearfishing and the 7 IUSA world records you currently hold. First of all, where did you get started doing that anyway?
It was right after I became an instructor for freediving. I was invited by friends of a friend to cross from Florida to the Bahamas on a spearfishing trip. And this group of friends they wanted somebody who was a good safety, who was good at freediving. So that's how I got invited. It was kind of like a last minute cancellation step in. And I went with them and connected with them so well. And one of them actually taught me, was like, hey, you want to learn how to spearfish? And I was like, yeah. And they handed me a pole spear and I shot a hogfish, and the rest is history.
You know, it's funny. I bet this guy did not think for a minute that when he did that, you were going to have 7 world records to your credit, right?
Definitely not.
Definitely
not. No, I'm not a very like aggressive personality, and I'm not an aggressive person at all, but I am a very driven person, and going into the water and selecting the specific fish that I want to eat that night, and then coming back, filleting it, using every part of the fish, and then feeding myself and my family and my friends. I got to the point where my parents stopped buying seafood. I provided seafood for the whole family, and that made me feel really good.
It's fresher than anything they're going to pick up anywhere at the fish market or anything, I'm sure.
By far.
So tell me, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Maya. Go ahead.
No, please go.
I was just going to ask her, how long did it take you to get to those 7 records? I mean, is that over what kind of period of time?
I got my first one in Costa Rica probably 4 years ago or 5 years ago. And then I bought my boat 4 years ago, and I moved on board and moved over to the Bahamas. And since I was living in the Bahamas, spearfishing is still very much a male-dominated sport. So there's a lot of records for men, and there's not very many records for women, and especially on pole spear because it's more primitive gear. So here I am in one of the best places in the world with the biggest fish and the most beautiful water, living on my boat full time with a pole spear in my hand. So I got pretty lucky.
You just sang Maya's tune, didn't she, Maya?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm signing up. Yeah, that's just amazing. Again, a healthy competition for you against the men and against yourself as well, right? And everything you tried and you have done, you just got like the highest position. So that's very impressive. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What is shark diving exactly?
Yeah, so I think the number one fear people have of the ocean is with sharks, thanks to the movie Jaws and a lot of movies out there. And so people have this crazy fear of the ocean, and they never get to experience the beauty of it or the interactions with all the marine wildlife because they're terrified to even put their toes in the water or go past the beach. So when I started spearfishing, I quickly realized that sharks are opportunistic, and when you're spearfishing, there's always going to be sharks there. So I took the opportunity to study with a bunch of shark biologists and scientists to learn their different behaviors so that when I'm spearfishing, I can do it safely and eliminate risk as much as possible by reading their behaviors. So when I moved on board and started offering charters, one of the things I started offering was the opportunity to free dive with sharks. So I would have people come on board and learn how to free dive, learn how to spearfish, and then we'd actually jump in the water when there were sharks around so that people could learn the different species of sharks, learn their different behaviors. And I took people who were crying and shaking, terrified, like almost to the level of having like a phobia of sharks. And within 5 to 10 minutes, they're no longer squeezing onto my hand. They're swimming by themselves, diving down, trying to get closer with the sharks, because most fear is just lack of knowledge. And once you have the knowledge and realize that the sharks aren't out, they're not man-eaters, they're not out to attack you, then your whole perspective on the ocean changes, and on sharks.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I mean, these people these are grown men.
Yeah. I had a very large man on my back for about 5 minutes straight. Yeah.
You cannot imagine it. Yeah.
What's it like to have a grown man cry in there and holding your hand? He's scared of a shark. I mean, that's got to be a dominating sort of a situation. Then I'm guessing,
It's really beautiful because they're forced to be vulnerable in a way that they're not typically vulnerable. And I feel really honored and blessed that I'm in a position to take them through this process in a healthy manner. So at the end of it, they can't wait to go back in the water. And that's the ultimate goal, because people protect things they love and they've experienced. And so if they have these amazing experiences, they're going to love and want to protect sharks in the ocean. And that's the goal.
Wow. some women might take that opportunity to say,
Yeah.
to make fun of them and go, really?
That's why you don't teach. That's why she teaches.
I let them make fun of themselves. They make fun of themselves at the end of the day. So it's all in good fun.
Yeah, I'm sure that's funny.
Oh, so, and when you take these guys down there, I mean, I wish I could see some video of that, because that would be fun. But I mean, are they really? They kind of hide behind you at first, or what do they do? Are they? I'm just curious about that.
Yeah. So typically, what happens is I'll get.
Oh no!
We lost her.
In the most excited question.
Yeah, this was getting really good here. I was going like, okay, I'm going to hear this.
Yeah.
Are we there?
Yeah. Just when you started, it just cut out. So start out over. I apologize.
Okay. So I'll have my mask and fins and jump in the water, and then they sit on the back of my boat and they put their mask and fins on, and then I turn around and they give me their hands and I piggyback them. So they're just holding on to the back of me. And that way they can keep their mask, their face in the water next to me, but their whole body is kind of on between them and the sharks. So
yeah, you're shielding them.
There's that barrier. And then once they feel comfortable enough to just hold my hand, then I'll tell them to wait, and I'll dive down and show them what an appropriate interaction is. We never want to touch the sharks. We never want to go after the tails or surprise the sharks. We just want to go down and coexist with them. And so I'll show them kind of how to do it, and then I'll hold their hand and dive down with them. And before you know it, they're doing it on their own.
That's so cool. Well, speaking of, what is your most favorite, let me try that again. What's your most frightening thing you've experienced while shark diving or free diving? Both of them, either one.
I've actually never been frightened when I was free diving or spearfishing or shark diving. There was never a moment that was scary to me. There was one situation where there was a pregnant bull shark behind the boat, and I jumped in because I wanted to interact with her and just see her, because she was big and beautiful. And when I jumped in the water, I made a little splash, and splash, the vibration is what attracts the sharks. And she actually turned and came up to the surface and came up to me. And I just had a mask with a GoPro on it. And I didn't want to scratch the mask or the GoPro. So I didn't want to touch her because I didn't want to startle her. So I just kind of tried to move out of her way. And she came straight into me and ended up hitting one of my fins and got scared, and then swam to the bottom. So I wouldn't say I was scared in that moment. It was more just a surprise. I wasn't expecting that behavior. That's not a typical behavior from a shark. So it just was a nice, humbling experience that you can have years under your belt, and they're still wild animals.
Yeah, that's true. That's a great point.
Yeah, it's just another day at the office, right?
Exactly.
That's funny. And you offer live aboard trips. Let's have you walk through a typical day on one of those trips.
Sure. So people will come on board from all over the world. They'll either come solo or with their friends or family or coworkers, and you move on board. So I have it's called 4 berths and 4 heads. So 4 bedroom, 4 bathroom on board. So I can take up to 6 guests sharing a cabin, 2 people sharing a cabin. And you come on board, and in the morning we have our coffee and breakfast. We go over free diving techniques and spearfishing techniques and shark diving techniques. And then we suit up and we go for a dive. And depending on where we are, we'll focus on whatever marine wildlife is in the area. So whether it be sharks or dolphins, turtles, stingrays, manta rays now, it's really special. We'll come back, we'll have some lunch, and then typically we jump in the water again. Pretty much every day we want to try to harvest at least 1 fish. We try to eat everything fresh, and we only take what we're going to eat that day. And then in the afternoons, we'll go to the beach, light a bonfire, have a couple beverages, make some s'mores, and then we'll spend the night kind of watching the stars. Typically, when you're in the Bahamas, there's about 10 shooting stars a night. It's magical. And then we go to bed and do it all over.
Oh my gosh. CW, my question is for you right now. When are we going to do that?
As soon as we get off the air, we're going to sign up for this trip, because and you did say 4 bathrooms, right?
Yes. Yep.
I can't. Then it just blows my mind. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, what would be really cool though is to do one of those trips and shoot footage of the whole thing. I think that would be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
You're both invited.
I think we're going to be talking about that, Stephanie.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Don't invite us if you really don't mean that.
Yeah,
No,
really.
you are 100% invited.
Because we're the kind of people who will take you up on it. I can promise.
That's amazing.
So, which of your excursions has been your favorite so far? I mean, you've been at a lot of places. Which one has been your favorite?
Probably, I have two favorite experiences of all. Actually, I've just added a third now. But my first one was going to it's called Tiger Beach in the Bahamas, and it's a place where they've been doing shark diving for a couple decades now. And the tiger sharks, I don't want to say domesticated because it's not the right word, but they're very familiar with humans. So they'll swim right up to you, and you have to choose to get out of the way because they won't get out of the way. And there was one time where a big female named Emma swam straight up to me, and I kind of played chicken with her a little bit, and she just came straight in. I had to put my hand up, and we were nose to nose for a second, and then I just kind of pushed her off to the side. And just having that experience that's so different than what I grew up knowing about sharks, and then seeing it for myself and experiencing it myself and sharing that moment, that was pretty life-changing for me. And then the next life-changing experience was I went to Norway, and I had the opportunity to free dive with orcas, killer whales in the wild while it was snowing outside. It looked like Narnia around you. And my boyfriend and I had an amazing moment where a mom and a baby came in and interacted with us. And the level of intelligence of an orca is completely different. How it feels in the relationship and the interaction is totally different than a shark. A shark is very much a fish, and the orca is very much a mammal. You feel like you're on the same level as them. They're so intelligent.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I have to ask you, Stephanie, did you ever picture you'd be doing something like this when you were a kid?
I did as a young kid. And even in high school, I had a pickup truck, and I always kept a bikini in my pickup truck. And after class, I would go over to the beach and put on snorkel gear, and I'd be snorkeling around. But it just never dawned on me that it was possible to do this with your life. I was always taught that, society teaches you, like, you go to school, you go to college, you get a master's, you get a job, you climb the corporate ladder as high as you can, and you try to get that title and that paycheck. And if you wanted to just buy a boat and sail away and go play with orcas and sharks, like that's not a real job. That's not something you can live off of. Like, that's not something you do. So it just never occurred to me that it was possible until I had kind of my aha moment, and I said, but why not? Like, why is it impossible?
Well, you had me at pickup truck, and I thought that was cool. So yeah, I mean, that's just so
Yes, everything just amazes me. You are just an amazing lady, and you are such a inspiration for everyone, but mainly for women, and mainly for me. And you said so many like amazing stuff, like fear is a lack of knowledge, and being vulnerable in a healthy way. That's just so amazing, so impressive. And I'm sure you promote lots of good changes in many people's life. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. But well, we have some pictures and videos to look up, but after this little break, so don't go away.
A few years ago, someone asked Rutabaga's owner, Darren Bush, "Hey, how long have you guys been selling boats?" Darren replied, "Well, we don't sell boats. We sell time on the water." Of course, that comes in all types. We help people paddle more safely with Rutabaga outdoor programs. We rent canoes, kayaks, and stand-up paddleboards. We sell and install racks to get you from home to adventure. Rutabaga's got everything you need to get you out on the water, like paddles, life jackets, dry bags, and clothing. Rutabaga Paddle Sports, on the web at rutabaga.com. Mention you saw this ad on The Camping Show.
It is time to go camping. Introducing Campground Views virtual tours. You can tour the campground, see the sights, see if they are available, and click to book your perfect spot. Hit the open road and explore the amazing places found in nature. We make it easy to discover, find, and book your site so that you can go have the fun and freedom you seek. Campground View's virtual tours make it easy and simple for you to see where you are going.
Duluth Pack is handcrafted for every lifestyle, making memories since 1882. In store at 365 Canal Park Drive or online at duluthpack.com.
We're one big family, a community of paddlers, and we want to make sure that everyone has a great time out on the water.
We are made right here in Sparta, Tennessee, USA.
This is where every Jackson kayak is born. Built by hand with a focus on innovation.
We are Jackson Kayak.
We are
Jackson Kayak.
We're Jackson Kayak.
We are Jackson Kayak.
And we're back with our guest, Stephanie Schuldt. Let's take a look at some of those photos that Stephanie sent us, and we'll have her tell us a little bit about
Whoa.
it. Yeah, look at that. Wow.
Big and beautiful. Oh my gosh.
So we just sailed over to Panama from the Bahamas, and we went through the Panama Canal over to the Pacific side of Panama, and we couldn't stop catching mahi. We were catching mahi. It was mayhem. But we actually ended up keeping this one. We only keep probably one out of every 5 that we catch, depending on our space in our fridge. So This was a really nice one.
That's amazing. That's a beautiful fish, by the way.
Yeah,
Stunning colors.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's so impressive.
That would be dinner for a few days.
This was fun. So I became friends on social media with a Bahamian underwater photographer. His name's Andre Musgrove. He's a super talented young man who's from the Bahamas. And we went on our first trip together to Bimini. And we jumped in the water. We were planning on diving with hammerheads. And there just so happened to be a tiger shark there. And this tiger shark's name is Joker. And this was the first season that Joker was spotted in Bimini and wasn't really super familiar with humans and didn't have her manners down. So so fun fact, sharks are actually somewhat drawn to the color yellow. We call it yum yum yellow. So I wore a yellow bikini on purpose because I wanted the sharks to come closer. And Joker loved my bikini, came right up. I left the surface because when a shark is approaching you, you want to dive down towards the shark. And I met Joker midway, and she came right into me. So I put my hand on her nose to redirect her. And tiger sharks do something called exploratory bites. So they close their nictitating membrane, which protects their eyeballs. And then they take a couple bites to see what it is that they're bumping into. It's not with the intention of eating you, but that's why you have that experience.
Holy smokes.
Whoa, I'm never going to wear yellow anymore.
Oh my God. And she did it on purpose. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So here again, you can see the yellow. This was the experience I described of being nose to nose with the female shark that came in. And yeah, she would have just kept going. You could see she also closed her nictitating membrane. You can see her eyes white. That's the membrane over her eye for protection. But this one didn't take any exploratory bites because she's really familiar with humans. I try to avoid interaction when I can. Now I move out of the way more. This was my first experience there, and I just wanted to see what she would do. And that's why I ended up having this experience.
Wow. And what happens when they bite you just to check it up? I mean,
Well, you don't want them to bite you. So with a
okay.
shark, their mouth is under their nose, like on the bottom side of their body. So as long as you have your hand on top of their nose, what you want to do is push down and away from you so that their teeth stay below you. And it's kind of like similar to a dog when you're asserting dominance. By just showing that you're dominant, you're kind of like the pack leader in a way. The sharks will tend to just say okay. And with Joker, that last photo when she did the exploratory bites, I stayed in the water with her for 2 to 3 hours and never had an interaction again. She just swam around peacefully with us and understood what I was, and I wasn't a threat, and we had a great time. So with a shark, if it comes in at you on top of its head or on top of its nose, flat hand, push down and away, and you'll be fine. You'll be absolutely fine.
So I did hear that somewhere. You put there on there.
Yeah.
I don't believe everything I hear. I mean,
Yeah, true. I'm the same. I heard that, but I didn't believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true.
Okay, good to know. And how crazy you playing like, okay, being dominant with a shark.
Yeah, right. I love it. Oh my God.
That's crazy.
In a yellow bikini, nonetheless.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the biggest thing to note too is in all of these situations, the sharks, it's very clear water. There's not a lot of disturbance. I'm with very experienced people. I'm experienced myself, and we're not doing any shark feeding. So there's no chum in the water. There's no feeding that's taking place. The sharks aren't in the feeding mentality. So their behavior is going to be a lot different. You can see these two sharks, their pectoral fins are flat, straight out, like parallel to the bottom. Once they drop their pec fins, that's when they go into predatory mode. So they start being frenzied, like sporadic with their behavior. They start swimming a lot faster. If you ever see a shark that's acting like that, you want to remove yourself from the water as quickly as possible. But don't kick and create bubbles, because that's what bait fish do, is they create bubbles. So always choose the situation where you're minimizing risk and you're putting yourself in a position to have a positive experience with people who are educated. The reason why we have most of our shark bites is because it's at the beach in the shore break with surfers. It's not clear water and they're thrashing around, and it's the sharks mistake them for fish. Wow. So I've never been mistaken. It's very obvious in these situations that I'm not food to them.
Yeah, that's good to know. Well,
how many days will that feed? I mean, that fish is huge.
It is your size.
Yeah, that is a nice wahoo that we got. And that one, typically it's just my boyfriend on board and my two puppies, and my one puppy just passed, and not just one puppy, but we have friends who come visit all the time, and we love to give fish back to the locals. We have all the gear, we have all the experience. I caught this one on a rod and reel, but a lot of times we're diving in and spearfishing, and a lot of times the locals don't have access to the equipment or to the skills or the know-how that we do. So a lot of times we'll get a fish, and then this fish in particular, we ended up donating the entire fish to the locals at the dock when we pulled up to the marina in the Bahamas.
That's a way to make friends fast, man.
Yeah. And it feels good. We're in their waters and their land, giving back. It's a way to really feel good and create good karma.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a beautiful colored fish too. I mean, and what was that, a flounder you said?
A wahoo.
A wahoo. Okay.
Yeah, wahoo. Yeah, that's a hogfish. So this is kind of, if you were to say there's one fish of the Bahamas, this is the fish of the Bahamas. It's a big male Bahamian hogfish. And they're a nice white flaky meat. They're super delicious pretty much every way that you eat them. And they are a great fish for beginners because they kind of just sit there and let you shoot them. So they're not very challenging, but they're really challenging to catch on rod and reel. So you're going to have the most luck spearfishing for them. In the Bahamas, you can't scuba dive. You only have to free dive, and you can't use a gun. You can only use a pole spear or a sling. So there's definitely some challenges. The populations are really strong in the Bahamas, which I love seeing. But yeah, they're one of my favorite fish for beginners because it's really rewarding to get a hogfish.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
You want to have some success, I'm sure, at first when you're learning some things, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So this is probably the fish I'm most proud of. This is another wahoo. It's 84.6 pounds. You can kind of see the scale up at the top there. So the reason why this fish is such a big deal is because I landed this fish by free diving on a pole spear. And with a pole spear, you can only shoot about 4 to 5 feet distance. So with wahoo, they're a pelagic fish, and they're really smart, and they're really fast, and they're really powerful, and It's extremely hard to get close to them. And this fish ended up not only being the women's world record on pole spear, but it also beat the men's world record on pole spear. And to date, it's the largest wahoo ever recorded landed in history on a pole spear. So, yeah.
Wow.
About this fish.
That's super impressive. I bet you had a beer at the end of that.
We had quite the celebration. Yeah, we were in super remote Bahamas with a bunch of locals. One of my local friends we were diving off my catamaran, which is also really special because typically you're on a big fancy sport fish boat with all this high-end equipment. And here we are on my catamaran with a pole spear. And it was just a special day all around.
I love it. Meant to be, meant to happen.
Yep.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah, that's the same fish when I brought it on my boat. I was really excited.
Love the color.
Really beautiful. Yeah. Whoa.
There we go. Just look, it reminds me of Gilligan's Island for some reason. I love this.
There's my family. This is my family. So Finn is my puppy. So that's the one chasing the sand. I rescued him from the Bahamas. He's a potcake puppy. So they're called Royal Bahamian potcakes. It's a breed of dog, and they're just the street dogs in the Bahamas. But he had been rescued. He was about not even 2 pounds when I got him, maybe 4 weeks old, had just been thrown into the bush to die. And he was rescued and given to a shelter. And I took my dog he was 12 at the time, Zeke, who lived on board with me. And we went to the shelter, and I said, I really want to rescue a potcake puppy because I started my adventure here in the Bahamas. We're about to leave to go sail around the world. And this would be such a great way for me to take a piece of the Bahamas with me and also take in a dog that needs a home. And my dog Zeke had been diagnosed with cancer, so I knew he didn't have long. So it was just a great way to keep him young and train Finn. And then that's my boyfriend Cole. This is in Panama. This is after we made it across the canal.
That's a wonderful story, and thank you for sharing that too. That's so cool.
Such a lovely family.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, this is cool.
Concerto in the Ocean. I love this.
Yeah. So this is a statue by the magician David Copperfield. He put this right off of his private island in the Bahamas in the Exumas for his wife. I think it's his wife. Her name's Chloe. And this concept was an idea that Andre Musgrove, the underwater photographer, had to go down and have me pretend to play the piano in a dress. And he put some music to it. It ended up going a bit viral, but it was one of my most favorite underwater photo shoots. Just the concept was beautiful, and it was a way for people, regardless of their understanding of the ocean, to kind of relate through seeing this photo.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
There is no word to describe it.
Yeah, I know, right?
So
it was very cold. It was very cold that day. I was frozen.
Wow. I love that. That's awesome. Is that the last picture we got? Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. Awesome pictures, by the way. Those are amazing. Really. Well, what of all the things you're involved in, what would you say of all of those things is probably the biggest, most misconceived by people? Misunderstood.
I mean, yeah, everything about my life is misconceived by people.
Where do you start, right?
Yeah, I mean, people
starting for the beginning.
People think freediving is crazy, that we're insane, that we're going to go brain dead by holding our breath so long. So that's a misconception. People think me being I bought the boat by myself. So I was a single woman on the boat just with my one dog, Zeke. The fact that I'm a female captain doing that, people think that's crazy. That I left a corporate career to sell everything and buy a boat, bust out another 1,000. Like, you're not going to be successful. They think that was crazy. Shark diving is severely, there's a misconception with that they're just going to eat you, that they're mindless killers. Huge misconception there. And then with spearfishing, just it's the most sustainable and ethical way to land fish and provide protein for yourself. So it's hard to pick which part of my life is the most misunderstood. My whole life is misunderstood.
Well, I got to tell you something. If people, I got a lot of feedback today, a lot of comments on you on this episode tonight, and people are like, "That is so cool." I got to tell you, I would imagine that anyone that meets you or knows who you are, or gets to know you, has to at least think, if they don't say, gosh, I really envy her. I mean, gosh, if I could do that, if I had the guts, or if I had that's impressive. And it's got to make you feel good that you can be an influence to people, a lot of people.
Yeah. And I feel like the misconception comes from the lack of the courage to do the same and follow the dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, we'll wind it down here in a couple of minutes. Let me ask you real quickly, Steph. What's the question you've always wanted to be asked, but no one has asked it yet?
Oh, you're there. Sorry.
Yeah. Did you hear my question?
No, sorry. I lost her at courage.
That's okay. Yeah. Well, I just said we're winding down in about 2 minutes here. Real quickly, what is the question that you've always wanted to be asked, but no one's ever asked it? You got one of those?
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody asks me, like, what are you doing? What is this? What is that? But how are you doing this? But they never ask me why. Like, why did you make this change? Why did you make the jump? Why are you on a sailboat? And that's a question I wish more people would ask. And the answer is kind of simple. Why not? Like, we have one life. We have one life to live, and I get to do what I want to do with who I want to do it, when I want to do it, where I want to do it. I mean, this is the ultimate freedom. And it's possible. And it's not just possible for me. It's possible for any single person out there who has this dream or any dream similar. And it is possible to break out of the matrix and the rat race. And that's my why. I do this because I want that freedom, but I also want to show other people that freedom can exist for them as well.
I think I'm going to speak for you and myself both and say we both envy you for doing that, because we were talking about doing something not quite to that degree, but for us it would be huge. And it's just amazing. You are an amazing lady, and to say the least.
Yeah, and thanks for speak for me, because I'm speechless right now. So yes, that's just so impressive and so amazing. Thank you very much for share with the world your dreams and everything you are able to do. And for people see more and know more about you and your adventures, where can people find you online?
Yeah, so probably the most is Instagram. Freediver Steph is my Instagram handle. And then if you want to watch any of the videos of our adventure, I don't do too much, but on YouTube, it's C'est La Vie, which is the name of my boat. So you can check me out there as well.
That's fantastic. Well, Steph, listen, we want to thank you so much for coming on the show and being our guest here this evening. It was an absolute pleasure and really a privilege to have you on the show.
Yeah.
So get to know you.
Thank you both very much for this time. I appreciate it. It was so nice getting to know you guys, and I can't wait to have you on board. So let's talk about it. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. Yes, I cannot thank you enough and, compliment you enough. So thank you again for being here. And we'd also like to thank each of our sponsors for bringing you tonight's show: Rutabaga Pedal Sport, Campgrounds Views, Duluth Pack, and Jackson Kayak.
Be sure to tune in for next week's episode, The Wonderful World of Dragon Boating, with our special guests, Rosa Abdallah and Mark Applewhite. Along with Maya Marzaki, this is C.W. Getz saying thanks for tuning in to Outdoors People. We'll see you next week.
Ciao.
Bye.